Welcome back to the new Tomorrow's Television Tonight. Now, that was a clip from Police Academy 2, one of America's biggest box office successes right now. But right now I'd like to introduce my next guests, William M. Hoffman and Jonathan Hadary. Jonathan starred on Broadway in Gemini and the Tony-winning Torch Song Trilogy, and he is currently co-starring in William M. Hoffman's new play, As Is, along with Jonathan Hogan. Welcome to our show.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Now, before we went on the air, you told me that you had been in the studio previously.
Yeah,
which I thought was funny. I just wanted to bring that up briefly.
I thought it was pretty funny too.
You hosted a
I hosted a live show out of the studio with a telephone hookup and with no premise. People used to just phone in and I'd talk to them. It lasted about a summer.
Was that about long enough for you?
Too long.
And you made, among other things, one of the segments on the show was a bicentennial fruit salad.
Bananas, blueberries, and strawberries.
Now, for those who have not read all the incredibly glorious reviews for As Is, including, of all people, John Simon in New York Magazine, could you just tell me briefly a little bit about the play and the character that you play?
The play is about a couple, former lovers, one of whom comes down with AIDS, and his ex-lover, who I play, after some difficulty ends up caring for him. That's roughly the course of the play. It chronicles their relationship and the relationship of the community to the disease, sort of parallel.
Their family and friends, and some people they barely know. And we get to see the reactions to this catastrophe, and that's the focus of the play. How they and the surrounding people react to it. Yeah,
a lot of the compliments toward the play have been that it's very personal and very involved with individuals rather than an overall statement about the situation in general, a political statement.
I don't really find writing about a disease or particularly interesting in itself. I mean, it's
you're not writing a thesis for a medical publication.
What did Sam Goldwyn say? If you have a message, send a telegram. You know, and
I don't know if I've ever said this to you. When I first read the play, I thought it was better at being a play than it was at being a play about AIDS, and I decided that was a virtue of the piece. It was about these people, and
well, it certainly
moved you. It moved you because you cared about the people. Yeah,
exactly. And there was in the piece in this month's show bill, it was commenting. I think Marshall Mason said it, that comparing the play to Ghosts, and that even talking about the fact that even though the disease that syphilis, hereditary syphilis, is not is the catalyst for the play, although that's not valid. The play still is valid because it's not ultimately about that. It's about people.
And you don't think, ultimately, one doesn't think of Ghost as being a syphilis play.
Or you don't think of
as they have billed As Is, an AIDS play.
You don't think of Camille as a play about consumption and tuberculosis, and La Traviata is not about tuberculosis either. But in its time, I suppose it had that aspect to it, and it's natural that people would say that about As Is. But I personally, I don't find writing about a disease all that fascinating. I like to write about people, and that's what I hope I've written about.
Now, when did you start writing this play?
About 3 years ago, 2.5 to 3 years ago, and I gradually got the courage to write more and more as we workshopped it at Circle Rep.
What was the impetus for creating this play?
Friends were dying and getting ill, and I was feeling rotten about it. And I don't know, it's sort of kind of therapy at first for myself. I really had not an inkling that anyone would be interested in it at all. I just
yeah, you were quoted as saying that you never thought it would be produced, that you didn't think it was commercial at all.
At all.
So I'm sure you were as surprised, probably
really
the most surprised.
Yeah.
Were you surprised? I'm sure you thought it was a good play by the time it reached the main stage of Circle Repertory Company.
I don't think that. Tell you the truth, I just write, and I really try to, as much as possible, avoid judgment about my own work. I mean, I have opinions, and that always proved to be wrong, so I try to avoid it. But I was just surprised. I mean, it was...
that audiences have taken to it, or that the critics
all kinds
have
of
taken to it?
What's astonished me is that subscribers at Circle Rep who didn't buy tickets to see this show, but already had tickets, and this was the show they got. Loved the play.
Gay,
they love
straight,
it.
old,
Well,
young.
Yeah.
What sort of
That's across
have
everything.
people come backstage and made specific comments to you?
Yeah, well, it's been interesting a couple times after Sunday matinees. Older couples who have subscription, series tickets for the whole season, they respond to it like it's a love story, and they like it. It's a good show. In addition to, or despite the fact that it's about AIDS and about death and dying, they seem to respond to it about the fact that it's about living and loving
And devotion.
and devotion.
And how to survive a catastrophe. And,
do you consider yourself a political person, or have you been politicized by this particular issue?
I tell you, the play is implicitly political. I mean, I think it's important that we all do something about this disease in one way or another. How we choose to do that, I mean, everyone will have to make their own choice.
Right.
So I think it's an activist play in that sense, but it's not. I really don't take any particular political.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that. I mean, it doesn't come off as a political statement per se, although it may have impact on politicians. I understand Mayor Koch came to see the show.
Yes, I think it will have impact on people, and has had impact. It's changed certain people's lives
Well,
already.
I thought of it as more humanitarian than political. I didn't
Yes.
feel like somebody was making an issue toward me.
Well, I suppose people that respond strongly to a humanitarian issue are likely then to respond strongly politically.
Yeah.
By virtue of the fact that they have been moved on another level in the first place, then they want to act on it.
Now, As Is going to be ending soon at Circle Rep, just in time to be transferred to Broadway's Lyceum Theater.
We
So they tell
open
me.
right away, April 28th for 26th for previews, and our official opening is May 1st, so that's immediate at the Lyceum Theater.
Did you ever expect that to happen? I mean, once you'd opened off Broadway and you'd gotten the reviews, and
That was a
obviously it's
shock.
doing incredible business,
It was a shock.
that the Schuberts would bring a play that deals with homosexual men and AIDS to Broadway.
We're going as far as I dreamed we might so far. I thought it would move. It looked hopeful that the show would continue somewhere, but that it would go all the way to 45th Street.
It was
is
clear from
so
the moment
wonderful.
we opened that there was a lot of interest in the play. But this much, I was really floored by it and delighted. It's been a wonderful thrill. And,
It's nice to be in a play that people need to see and want to see. And more people can see it now that we're going to move.
Yeah, it's very exciting, not only because it's a wonderful play, but also gives a whole new audience a chance to see it who might not necessarily go down to Circle Repertory to see it.
You can't get seats downtown anymore.
I know,
That's why
they'll
we have
run
to
sold
move.
out.
And you can get seats uptown.
I want to thank you both for joining us tonight. Jonathan Hadary, William M. Hoffman, I wish you the best of luck on your Broadway opening. Your second opening alone will be a piece of cake after the first one, I'm sure.
We'll see.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
The show is As Is. It's now at Circle Rep, and it will shortly be in Broadway's Lyceum Theater. Now, coming up next, Lisa Yap with comedienne Jane Anderson. But first, before Lisa finds out about the Anderson family,